I have a ton of books on my physical TBR, and I thought that this would be a really fun way to get through at least 2 of them. Today, we are going to be reading the highest rated and lowest rated books on my physical TBR. It's going to take me a long time to determine what is the highest and the lowest. If you're curious what is actually on my physical TBR, I have a full video sharing all of the books on it. Those are the books on the physical TBR we will be going with. So I'm gonna go on Goodreads and I'm just gonna search every single book and check their star ratings there. It's gonna be interesting seeing how other people feel about all of the books on my TBR because I have never looked. So far I'm realizing that different kinds of books seem to be preferred. It seems like thrillers in general have much lower ratings than other genres, and it seems like fantasy books get really high ratings. I thought the Atlas 6 would have much higher ratings than it does. It is 3.62 stars, so that's starting as our low. And randomly, the next book I picked up was Priory of the Orange Tree, which actually has higher than I thought. It has 4.21 stars, so that is our high. I knew that The Hobbit was going to be high. I just knew it. So it has 4.29 stars, higher than Priory of the Orange Tree, so this is our next highest. Fellowship of the Ring has 4.39 stars. So maybe we'll be starting the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Do you read this one before The Hobbit? What's the order here? Oh my god, okay, wait, Two Towers has 4.48 stars. But I can't just start in the middle of the series. The Return of the King, the third book, the final book, has 4.56 stars. So I can't read this. This is probably going to be the highest, I have a feeling, but I can't read this, guys. We have a new low, 99% mine. I think this is a romance novel. New low, new low. This is also really highly rated. It is a historical fiction. It has 4.29 stars. So if we take the Lord of the Rings books out completely, this is our new high. 4.43 stars. New high. Memoir of a Life Interrupted. It is about someone who is diagnosed with cancer. The smile doesn't equal what the book is about. This is so highly rated for a thriller. I'm surprised. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder has 4.33 stars, which is way higher than all of the other thrillers that I'm seeing, but still not my highest. Thrillers are low, 3.44, but I don't think that is less than this. No, 3.36, pretty close, but this is still our low. This one doesn't have the book jacket on it, but it's called The Club. It's a thriller. It has 3.31 stars. So that is our new low. Maybe we'll be reading a thriller. You guys love when I read thrillers. Wait. Okay, new low. The Couple at the Table. This is our winner. 3.1 stars. This is the lowest rated book on my physical TBR. This wasn't included in my physical TBR video because I just bought it the other day at a thrift store. I love One Direction. I thought, oh, I wonder how that stacks up. 4.43 stars. So these two are tied for our highest rated book. Both are higher rated than The Hobbit, and both are higher rated than the Fellowship of the Ring, the first in the series of the Lord of the Rings. I said that weird. The first in the Lord of the Rings series. So it looks like I'm going to be reading one or both of these. That's hilarious that this is the highest rated book. Even though this has been on my physical TBR for so long, we're gonna read One Direction because it's hilarious. This is gonna be such a funny video. So we're reading the One Direction memoir and a thriller in today's video. I have to say, I am absolutely shocked that this is the highest rated book on my bookshelf right now. I have to confess something to you all. I am a huge One Direction fan. I am Canadian, and I first found One Direction on social media in like 2010, I feel like, on Tumblr. But I became obsessed, and I would find ways to like stream and watch the X Factor from Canada. I was a super fan from the get-go. So this is very fitting. Because if you've known me for a long time personally, you know that I have always loved One Direction, and all of my friends in high school used to make fun of me for like my love of One Direction. I actually have some of their other books at my parents' house. I'll have to have my mom bring them. And wow, look at us reading it for a reading vlog. I did not think that was gonna happen. I've started this. I am currently on page 73. This is not gonna take me long to read because there's pictures in it, and it's not like it's literary greatness. It's a One Direction autobiography. If you don't know who One Direction is, they were like the biggest boy band of the 2010s. Harry Styles, we all know now, was a part of the band. There's Zayn Malik, there's Niall Horan, there's Liam Payne, there's Louis Tomlinson. One of my biggest life regrets is that I didn't get to see them perform in concert as a five-son before they broke up. But I do have tickets to see Niall Horan, who they're my favorites in the band. They've always been my favorites. I love Niall so much. And I have convinced my children by accident that music is called Harry Styles because I have listened to him so much, and I just say all the time, hey Google, play Harry Styles. So I'm actually kind of excited to read this. I will not lie. Is it going to be literary greatness? Definitely not. I'm shocked. Like the ratings are so high, but of course the ratings would be really high because the people in general that are going to be picking up a One Direction autobiography to read are people that already like One Direction, so are therefore more likely to rate it really high, I think, especially like teeny bop girls when this first came out, because this is not a new book. This came out in 2014. Okay, now let's actually read this instead of me rambling about how much I love One Direction. I've made it to page 109. I have finished Liam's section. It's like divided into sections for each boy, guy, man, I don't know. And I'm currently reading Niall Horan, and I will say this cannot be the highest caliber book in that list. It just can't be. Basically, so far, like a stream of consciousness from a 20-year-old guy, Liam, the first one, and there's nothing deep or like thought-provoking in this autobiography yet. This book is starting to feel like an ad for whoever Ben Winston is. I'm 124 pages in, and the man's been mentioned at least 5 times. Oh, look, here he is again. 6. Ben Winston. Ben Winston. This is not a good book. It's not like they're sharing a ton of insight into what it was like being in One Direction. They're just like, I'm so thankful for the fans. Social media is so great. Wow, we have so many fans. I'm so thankful for them. Okay, I finished this. The highest rated book on my TBR. And guys, I was done so dirty by this book. I don't know in what universe that out of the 70 whatever books on my shelf, this is number 1. I love One Direction, like I said, but I gave this book 2 stars. To be honest, it's just not a good book. I think there's a few reasons for this. 1, I think that someone, whoever's idea this book was, the publisher, whoever, gave each of the 5 members of One Direction a list of things to talk about. They said, talk about your beginning on the X Factor quickly. Then talk about Madison Square Garden. Talk about going to Ghana in Africa and what that was like. Talk about going to Sweden and recording your first album. Talk about performing in the Olympics. Like, there was just a checklist, and it said, give your brief thoughts on each of those things. You're listening to the 5 of them tell the same story on the same few things. There's very little differences besides like how they saw things in this book, and it's very like fan appeasing, very much being like, our fans are everything, our fans are everything, we couldn't do anything of this without the fans, we love the fans. When I read a celebrity memoir, like I want it real. I want how you actually felt about things. I want you, the artist, to share what it was like being you in One Direction. I don't want you to just say, oh, it's amazing, because I guarantee it wasn't amazing. We know, based off of just Zayn's story of leaving One Direction and what he's said now, that it was not always amazing. So do I think this deserves to be the highest rated book on my TBR? No. And honestly, at this point, guys, I have not started the worst rated book on my TBR. This one, The Couple at the Table, but how can this be worse than what I just read? I don't know if it can be. Famous last words. Watch it be absolutely horrible. Okay, this sentence is super complex for no reason. Ready? Anita, the deputy manager who covered for the Summeralls when they were away, as they were now, had described Jane's father, when she'd first given Lucy and Pete the full resort tour, as Lordian. Why is there 1, 2, 3, 4 commas in that sentence? That's just unnecessary. I don't know how I am going to finish this book. I heard someone describe another one of her books as overwritten, and I agree. Sentence structure and the way that she phrases things is just so unnecessarily complex that sometimes I even have to reread a sentence to be like, wait, what are you trying to say? Which is not what I want in a thriller. Like, you want it quick, you want it snappy, you're reading it for the plot. You're not reading a university essay. It's so confusing to me the way that this author is writing. And I got about 50 pages in and thought, this book reminds me of something. Another book that I started and I hated. And I DNF'd it. And it reminded me so much of the writing style. And I was like, huh. Would you believe that it's the same author? That's why I couldn't read this book, because of the writing style, because of, I said to Allie at the time when I was reading this, I was like, it's like I'm reading, this is so mean. It's like I'm reading a book from someone that wants everyone to know how smart they are. And I can't focus on the plot because of just the way things are written and the word choices and stuff. It's just so unnecessarily complex. Like, so now it makes sense why this is the worst rated book on my TBR. This is not on my TBR because I hated it and said I'm never reading this. I don't know why it's still on my bookshelf, honestly. This might be leaving in an unhauling video. But I looked at the star rating for this book and it is the lowest rated book I have ever seen, with 2-point-something stars on Goodreads. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Also, I'm trying to get this video up before I go on vacation. So I have to read like 300 pages tonight in order for that to happen. And it's 300 pages of this book. It wouldn't be so bad if it was 300 pages of like a book I was enjoying. I will say though, the storyline is not bad so far. The plot, not bad. It's just hard to focus on the plot when I'm like, why did you say that? One day for a video, I am going to turn this room into a cozy reading library, but that's not happening anytime soon. So you're gonna have to just look at it like this for now. I'm reading this, and I have to say there's something really confusing about the way this is written, mostly because it changes who it's following like every chapter, but it's also going back and forth in time, and it doesn't tell you at the start of the chapter who you are following. Like, I like when it just gives you the name and you're like, okay, yeah, this is where we are, but it doesn't do that. So you're just trying to be like, oh yeah, wait, here's where we are. And there's so many characters. I would say too many characters that we are following closely. But this is the most confusing part to me. I don't remember if this has happened yet, but randomly this chapter starts being in first person, like I, me, I think, instead of just being like Charlie imagined, Liv said. Like, what's that called? Third person, like omniscient narrator? I don't know. I haven't taken an English class in a long time. But why? Why is this a sudden change? It's weird. But I will say the storyline has gotten better. It's definitely like a murder mystery story, and I'm curious to see who did it. So I'm trying to get this done before I leave on vacation tomorrow and get this video up for you all to watch. So I don't know if that's gonna happen. There's a lot of book left. I'm done and I have some thoughts. So I will say that this is the dumbest motive for murder I have ever heard. Like, no one is going to kill for this reason. This was definitely not a thriller. There's nothing thrilling about this book. I would say it's a murder mystery. The most frustrating thing for me though is that characters would be like, oh, I know who did it. Oh, I know because of XYZ. Oh, that clue, that's what's gonna make me, like, I know now. And then they don't tell you until the end, which I'm sure is like what a murder mystery is like you're trying to figure it out, but I don't know. It says that it's a psychological thriller though, and this is not that for me. So I don't know. Is it a 2-star? Yeah, I think it's gonna be a 2-star book. So yes, I do see why it was the worst rated book on my TBR, which means we're only going up from here, guys. We're only going up. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back with another video really soon. I'm currently on vacation, so it's a reading on vacation vlog coming up next. All right, bye.